This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
All right, welcome in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is Thursday, July the 9th, right here on Jocks. Media Days schedule continues as Big 12 Media Days wraps up yesterday. ACC next week. The SEC will hold their Media Days in Tampa the week after. A couple others sprinkled in between. So it is that time of year that coaches, players going to be in front of microphones, making noise, talking about different things, gives us content, reasons to talk about different avenues of college football. And one that I guess for certain people still seems to be a little bit confusing is Texas Tech, Greg. Joey McGuire, their head coach yesterday, was asked about just what it's been like being the head coach there for the Red Raiders during all the Brendan Sorsby mess.
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, and I've said it a lot today from the standpoint, you know, my peers, there are very few, if any, that said anything about this. So, like, I got more support. You know, the people that talked about it the most were the conferences and the ADs, you know. And so I hate that President Skubinek and Kirby Hocutt, our AD, had to deal with that. The one thing, whenever people bring up the integrity, that was interesting of some people that said and used the word integrity. And then, you know, Harry Miller was my principal at Cedar Hill, and he used to say, when you open your mouth, you better make sure your closet's clean when you start pointing at other people. And it was interesting, a couple of people that used the word integrity, and I don't think their closets are clean. I could completely understand when people talk about the integrity of the game and betting on the game and everything like that, and that was something to deal with and really kind of question. But as far as our integrity and how we dealt with everything, there was nothing that Texas Tech ever did other than support our player. You know, we weren't a part of the lawsuit, but we were there to support him through it. He never played. He was not a player that played a game for Texas Tech that was ineligible. You know, and so whenever I look at that, I just keep going back that we were there to help support the young man, you know, and we tried to do it the best we could.
I don't really understand, Greg, why there's still confusion of why people were frustrated with what was happening from the Texas Tech side of things. I understand you defend your school, you defend your program, but this confusion of why are people upset with us, why were people frustrated with us, I don't really understand it. I don't get it from their end.
Also, whataboutism. I mean, it's not an integrity issue. It's an integrity of the game issue. Like that, no one, I think, is saying that Joey McGuire has bad integrity or anything. No, it's more if he plays, it affects the subconscious mindset that the game has a predetermined outcome in some cases, or somebody can change and adjust the predetermined outcome of the game. Like it's when you talk about gambling on your own sport, it's an integrity of the game issue. That doesn't mean it's not a reflection of someone's integrity that is playing for Texas Tech or supports Texas Tech. No, it is purely about making sure that the game outcome is undetermined because everyone is giving their best effort to win the game. That is what we mean when you say integrity of the game too. So I don't like the whataboutisms either. It's like this was a unique situation, and no one that has ever bet on their sport while playing has ever survived it. So like you can say, well, you know, what about this? Well, this person's upset with us for playing him. Well, but he's got this in his past, and I mean that's beside the point. The reality is he was the only one that's ever been able to play ever. That bet on their sport. So I just don't feel like it's that difficult to understand why people are upset about it. And I like Joey. And I do think he was just defending his player. But should they have been defending their player? I don't know if it was the best decision long term. People are going to really dislike them for a very long time as a result of this.
And then maybe some of how should you be defending your player? I feel like the kind of looking back and leaning on, well, he never played for us and he didn't play a game for us. But you were also going out of your way to make sure that he was going to play a game for you and he was going to play for your football team. You defended him maybe beyond what a lot of other schools would. And it's almost like they don't really see that point either. I understand it's your guy, or it was your guy. You got to defend him. You got to go to those lengths, and that's what it is. But I just this continued defending and almost defense mechanism of why were people frustrated with us? Why were people pointing fingers at us? I will say this. I don't think Joey McGuire was prepared for all of this. I almost feel bad for him.
Of course.
Because I think he was put in a terrible situation. I don't think a lot of what happened with Texas Tech was his idea. And it's not like he can go out there now to Big 12 Media Days and be like, I didn't want any of this. Like, he can't do that.
No.
So now he has to be somebody a little bit different than maybe who he really is in defense of his program with things that were taking place that he probably wasn't a fan of and try to make it seem like it was normal, and it obviously wasn't.
Joey McGuire is a really good dude and a good person, and I think is not one of those guys that's like win at all costs type of guys. Like I think to an extent all of these coaches are win at all costs type people, but he's a really good dude. Like he's one of those guys. If any of y'all would ever have met Joey McGuire, he is like one of us. Like he's a normal guy that was coaching high school football, caught a couple breaks, and now has been accelerated up to the top of the food chain in his respective sport in a state that he is very, very proud of. And it's just a perfect situation. So I'm telling you, like, this guy is salt of the earth. At least my experience around him, he's really a good person. And I don't think if you were to ask him in a room behind closed doors, I don't think this whole situation has made him very comfortable. How could it? Anybody that's been around the game as long as he has, or as long as we have, would be uncomfortable about this. But he does have people that he answers to. In some places, the college football coach answers to nobody. Like they are the highest rung on the ladder. That is not the case in Lubbock, Texas. And that, I think, is a difficult spot to be in. The buck does not stop with him. So, and that's a hard thing because you have to now go and kind of toe the chorus line, I think, to an extent. So it's a tough spot, but I just don't think this has been handled very well at all. But then again, it's not like there's a playbook for handling something like this. It's always been cut and dry. It's always been very clear. You do this, you're out.
Do you think Yormark hurt this situation with his handling of it at Media Days? As in, what I mean by that is he could have put a portion of it to rest. He could have said, he could have had a couple of definitive statements of this is how we handled it.
Yeah.
This is what we saw. This is what we did. This was the communication we had with them. This is what that back and forth was. And as far as we're concerned, it's completed and we're moving forward.
Sure.
Instead of this isn't the time to talk about it. Because in my opinion, Greg, what that does is, all right, well, if you're not going to talk about it, we're going to find anybody else that will talk about it.
Sure.
You're at Media Days.
Yeah.
It's been the biggest story in college football for 3 weeks.
What else is going to be talked about?
I wonder if the way that he managed it, and I had not thought about that until right now, that almost erased the period on the Brendan Sorsby situation and kind of open it back up for even more discussion. They were going to be asked about it anyway.
Of course.
It's not like Joey McGuire was going to be excused of all questions on it, but I wonder if that sort of maybe pushed it further of, all right, well, if he's not going to talk about it, we'll go ask everybody else about it. We're going to have Wyatt Wheeler on, who covers K-State, in about 20 minutes. We'll just get his thoughts, too, even though he doesn't cover Texas Tech, just on what's it been like at Media Days from that Texas Tech situation. Craig Smoke, 365 Sports, covers the Big 12 and Baylor. He'll be with us at 8:30. We'll ask him the same thing. But it almost feels like that maybe pushed this narrative even further than it needed to be just at Big 12 Media Days.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. And I don't know if I would go as far as to blame Brett Yormark.
I'm not blaming him, but
I just think it's all an impossible situation. Like, I think if they could go back, I think if you were to rewind and this came to light, I think if Texas Tech were to do it all over again, don't know this for sure, but let me ask you this question. Do you think Texas Tech, if they could do it all over again, given the fallout, would approach this the exact same way they approached it?
No.
I think they would 100% just say, all right, good riddance. Like, Brendan, here,
we got to go.
Keep your signing bonus and, like, let's just call it a day, man. You got to go. Like, I think if they could do it all over again, I'd be surprised if that wasn't how they handled it.
Maybe even a suspended indefinitely, like suspended from all team activities, not a part of our program right now, and then let him go out and try to handle the eligibility part on his own, whereas it was even kind of understood, hey, if he gets it back, we still don't know what his standing is going to be with us. He's got to get that cleared first, then we'll have conversations about it.
Yeah.
That would have almost put the majority of it to rest, in my opinion. But as you stated, it wasn't, and that left that door open for everybody to question what in the world's happening.
Well, that's the thing, is when you look at it, it's like it's his issue to deal with. It's not really Texas Tech's problem. I mean, and they made it their problem. And in an effort to support their, quote, player, they brought themselves into it. If you would have allowed this to be a Brendan Sorsby situation as opposed to a Texas Tech plus Brendan Sorsby situation, I think Texas Tech could have come out the other side very clear. And you might dislike Brendan Sorsby. The court of public opinion might dislike him individually, but because of how Texas Tech dug in, it's impacted them. And I'm not sure it needed to. I think if you would have just let it go its way, it probably would have been okay.
If you would have let it go its way, it probably would have been okay. I feel like that could be a T-shirt.
There you go.
And the Big 12 and Texas Tech can just kind of move on from there. But it has been a big portion of the conversation. We got a lot of other great conversation coming out of Big 12 Media Days. Rich Rodriguez had some interesting things to say. He was asked about the future of the backyard brawl, Greg, and he said that he wants all of college football to consolidate under one TV contract. Then promote regionality again. So he went on to say, then we can play Pitt, Virginia Tech, Penn State, Cincinnati, Virginia, maybe North Carolina.
Okay.
He's the first coach that I've heard kind of really get behind the whole consolidating TV rights situation. I know there's some that probably think it's a good idea, but
some that think it, and some in the ACC and the Big 12 that think it's a good idea.
ACC specifically, I can imagine. But I just haven't heard a lot of coaches openly discuss that they think, oh yeah, that's a good idea. We should do that.
I like the regionality.
Like you said, haven't heard Big Ten and SEC coaches say we should probably go do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I'm not one of those that's really in favor of the pooling of the rights. I've seen the projections, I've seen the models. I don't see those being realistic personally. But if I were a Big 12 school, if I were an ACC school, I would absolutely want the Senate bill to pass. I would absolutely want the rights to be pooled because a rising tide lifts all ships. And frankly, if we can tie ourselves to the SEC and the Big Ten, man, I'm all in on that. But why would the SEC and the Big Ten be on board with that? Absolutely not. We're the ones carrying the load. We're the ones that account for 85% of the revenue. We're the ones that account for 40+% of the viewership. That's just from the SEC alone. So why would we lift up out of the goodness of our heart the ACC and the Big 12? Like, it's not going to happen. So I appreciate Rich Rodriguez's perspective, but it's also taken with a grain of salt, knowing who he coaches for and what league he coaches in.
Also, that would apply, I think, in similar fashion to some of the conversation about playoff expansion. It hasn't really been a resounding we should expand, we need to expand from Big Ten head coaches, SEC head coaches. Arizona head coach Brent Brennan, big advocate of playoff expansion, saying yesterday, why would you not be? To me, one of my best memories of college was following UCLA to the Final Four, watching them win a national championship. It was magical. How about that year? Watching Arizona go through the NCAA tournament, get to the Final Four. How epic was that?
Amazing.
What runs for the city of Tucson, the University of Arizona. Why would we not want something similar for college football? It's already the second most watched game in the country. Why would we not supercharge the playoff, make it a little more inclusive, provide more opportunity, grab a few more fan bases in regions of the country?
Yeah, I love that. Notice how he referenced that 3-week run in March Madness for UCLA and Arizona. Not referenced the 12-week run of regular season games leading up to that 3-week run. Want to know why? Because nobody cares. It's very, very smart.
Come on, you can't say nobody.
People are not living and dying on regular season basketball outcomes. It doesn't even matter how – you could be Kansas, Duke, whatever where they literally, it's all about basketball. Gonzaga, who doesn't even have a football program. Like, you're not living and dying week in and week out. Like, I went to 5 Alabama basketball games last year. We lost 2 of them at home. It was like super bummed for a second. Then it's like, okay, well, it's okay. Who do we play next? Oh, we play Tuesday? Perfect. Let's roll. You know what I mean? It's not one of those where like you die, you lose, and you feel like you're dying inside. It's just very, very different. So I think that's the key. That's awesome that he had a great experience watching the postseason, and it was really exhilarating for him. But we in our sport have 12 weeks of importance leading up to that postseason that we don't really want to dilute.
It's an interesting thought because of all the conversation we have about the playoff, we hear very few people talk about how do we improve the regular season. And we have talked about this with like the SEC going to 9 conference games. That's going to do that. That's going to help that. We've talked about a little bit some of the neutral side games. Can they go away? Can we just get home and homes? Now we've had this roller coaster of a school, another Power 5 school that you're going to play, Power 4 school that you're going to play in the non-conference. We had like 5 years ago where that was, okay, you have to do this. 3 years ago, no one wants to do this. We're canceling these games. Then it comes back. Now it looks like it's going away again. So I don't know where everybody is on that, but we've at least had those conversations. But in comparison, Greg, the people who talk about what needs to be done to the postseason, you hear about 5% of that as it pertains to how can we make the regular season better. And that should maybe be the conversation more so. Because if the regular season takes care of itself, the postseason should be pretty dang good no matter what.
And who are the guys with the microphones?
Well, right now, the Big 12.
No, right now it's the coaches. You know what I mean? Like, it's the coaches are the guys that are out there pitching an expanded playoff. And what does that provide them? Job security. And you think that it could work the other way. You don't make the playoff, you get fired. I don't know. At a lot of places, like Arizona specifically, I'm not sure you're getting fired if you miss the playoff. At some places, sure. But most places, probably not. So the guys that are talking about expanded playoff, man, we should supercharge that and put everybody in. It's probably because they want to play for a long time. They want to coach at their place for a long time. I don't blame them at all for that.
It's going to be an interesting watch as more coaches get more microphones through more media days over the next 2-3 weeks, and how much of that is around the college football playoff and how it maybe should expand, maybe how it should not expand. We'll obviously hear it. We'll know about it. We'll move on to more Big 12 Media Days discussion with Wyatt Wheeler. He covers Kansas State. He was there at the Star covering Big 12 Media Days. His thoughts on just kind of the Texas Tech situation. And then obviously a new regime there in Manhattan, what he expects that to look like this year. Before we move to that, Greg, if you're looking to move out of your home, it should be Crocker Moving Services.
Yeah, they're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. Whether you need your whole home packed up and moved, your company headquarters moved across the country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Service for your next move.
All right, we'll talk more with someone who's been at Big 12 Media Days next right here on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, and Three-Man Front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Some SEC news yesterday as the league and ESPN announced Chase Daniel will join SEC Nation. Also going to call Thursday Night Football. So longtime pro, former Mizzou quarterback, GMAC, joining the SEC Network and ESPN family.
Former Southlake Carroll Dragon quarterback as well.
Pardon me.
Just something worth mentioning. Something worth.
Do y'all count Brendan Sorsby since you let him work out there?
No, his agent lives in Southlake. That's not the same.
Yeah.
No.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
I bet he didn't hold a power clean record.
Hall of Honor.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We don't have a Hall of Fame. We have a Hall of Honor. Don't know what the difference is.
Like
by the way,
less.
found the Carroll ISD Hall of Honor. I guess you'd call it like a koozie or a hugger or whatever this weekend. Did not know it was sponsored by Duff's Wings. So big old like Duff's Wings, which is like a.
Isn't Duff's like Buffalo?
When I think Duff's, I think Simpson's
Yeah, that's
beer.
their beer. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I the high school
thought
thing is
that was one of like the
sponsored.
big wing joints in Buffalo. Honestly, I think there's
maybe
like two.
they have one in Southlake now. Not sure, but interesting nonetheless.
Duff's Famous Wings in Buffalo, New York. Yeah, because I went there when I did a Buffalo game. Because there's like Duff's and there's one downtown. I can't remember the name of it.
It's like Pat and Gino's in Pittsburgh,
basically,
Philly. I mean,
in Chicago. Well,
Philly.
But there's also Gino's and a couple different pizza places in Chicago. But yeah, that's like you pick one of the two, and those are like the wing spots in Buffalo. So I don't know if it's the same though. But it is Southlake, so y'all have everything's bigger in Southlake, right?
Not necessarily. I'd
It's
say
like
everything's bigger in Texas,
It's like a
Southlake.
Death Valley thing. Like there's one in Buffalo, but then y'all are trying to make it y'all's.
That's definitely it,
Okay.
for sure.
Who else is in the Southlake Hall of Honor? Chase Daniel, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
Who else is in there?
Nobody that you would know.
Protect the tradition.
There's not a
I'm looking
lot.
for it right now.
Not a lot of
See,
pros.
Inductees. I don't care about pros. I care about good high school players.
Nobody that you would know.
Phil Barber's going in this year. He's a fan and supporter.
Correct.
Jack Johnson's going in.
Don't know who that is, but the elementary school is Jack Johnson Elementary School.
Probably important.
One
guy
of
there.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure what his deal is, but
Will Mantooth is going in.
yeah, I think he
Anchorman?
played in like 92.
How many Dodges are in there? Chase Daniel, by the way, went in 2015. That's after you went in.
No, I went in 20.
You're not listed.
It's
How
on
many
there.
Dodges are in there? Todd Dodge went in 2015.
Todd Dodge and Riley Dodge. Those are the only two.
That's it. I thought there was like 7 of them.
Nah.
Where did Chase Wasson play?
Texas State.
Got it.
A little small, but good player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Kerry Clayton, is he an offensive lineman?
Don't know him.
Hold on a second.
Unfamiliar.
He looks like an O lineman for the Chargers here. 96 graduates of Southlake, Carroll, went on to become the first offensive lineman to make it to the NFL. I feel like there are a couple that played O-line before him in the NFL. But
That's true.
call me crazy.
Only one from Southlake potentially, but I would also say this, taking it one step further. Making it to the NFL doesn't necessarily mean made an NFL roster.
But
Don't know if he actually made an NFL roster. Don't know.
he was a C Award winner, first team All-District center, second team All-District D tackle, All Area, All Metro, All Region. So
Love that.
I'm trying to see where he went to play in college. He threw the shot put 56 feet, Greg.
56?
Top 20 graduate in his class. He can't touch you there. Like, he played at UTEP. There you go. I have more respect for your Hall of Honor now that you have an offensive lineman in there.
Yeah, dude. We respect we have Mitch Enright in there, played SMU.
The 1975 girls basketball team is in. The
Correct.
whole team.
Yeah. Adam Ulatowski played at Texas.
So you went in with Justin Leonard, not the golfer.
Maybe.
You went in with the 24 golf team. Were you on that? The 2004 golf team?
No, it wasn't.
I'm just who you were inducted with.
I love how everybody listening is like, who the heck are these guys?
These are Southlake
The
Carroll
hosts
Hall of
are-
Honors.
There is one name that people might remember from like a game in 2004. Is who like went viral, had 3
I
touchdowns.
guarantee there's a couple people that
Clint Renfro was a guy that we played the first high school football game ever televised on ESPN. It was us against Denton Ryan. And Clint Renfro went off, like had 3 unbelievable acrobatic catches and just went ham. It was unreal. So people might remember that name, but probably not because he went to TCU and just could never really stay healthy. Ended up just running track. But
Patrick Benoist played at Vanderbilt.
Benoit.
Sorry.
yeah, one of my best friends from high school. He just went in this year, so we're excited for him.
Yeah. And with an offensive lineman, by the way, Mitch Enright.
Mitch Enright played the only guy in Southlake Carroll history to start for 4 years along the offensive line. Started as a freshman.
Holy hell. His teams were 57-6.
That's only because his freshman year they didn't win very many games. Starting his sophomore year,
Is that when Quinn Ewers quit?
no, he played. Mitch would have started in like 2001 to 2005 or 2000 or no, Mitch would have been like
01 to 04.
01 to 04.
Yeah.
Okay.
They had a 16-0 season in there. It doesn't say anything about the other season.
Yeah, and honestly, the only 04 he won 16-0, 02 he won 16-0, 03 15-1, 05 16-0, 06 16-0, 07 they lost 1. So in 07 16-0. Yeah, I mean when I was in high school and the 1 year beyond when I was in high school, we went. Well, I was 63-1 in our 4 years. Our one loss came by 1 point in the state championship game. And then if you were to include the following year, they went 16-0 as well. So you had a stretch at Southlake where we went 79-1.
Love it. I love that in 20 what year was this that he was inducted? I can't see. 2023, Adam Ulatowski.
Yes, played at Texas.
He went in as an athlete.
Really?
But his photograph is pulling number 79.
He was literally our left tackle.
Yeah. But he's listed as athlete.
Maybe he threw the shot. I don't know.
We'll take it.
Love that.
It. So there you go. All right. Some Hall of Honor members there at Southlake Carroll where McElroy went to high school.
Yeah,
when we
love
come
that.
back, we'll talk to Wyatt Wheeler. Covers K-State, but been at Big 12 Media Days. The noise around Texas Tech. How loud has it been in person? We'll discuss it next right here on Jocks.
The capital of the sports talk nation. This is Jocks 94.5 and JocksFM.com. Birmingham.
Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Thursday, July 9th, 7:33 a.m. right here on Jocks. Listen online, JocksFM.com. Big 12 Media Days now concluded, but Wyatt Wheeler was there covering Big 12 Media Days. He covers Kansas State at Wyatt Wheeler _. You can find him there on Twitter. Find his work at USA Today and CJ Online. Wyatt, we were kind of just talking about the Texas Tech noise. It's a little surprising to hear still some of the defensive manner in which it's discussed from folks within that Texas Tech program. I feel like it could have been extinguished a little bit by Brett Yormark, but him essentially saying, I'm not talking about it, I felt that may have stoked the coals just a little bit more and maybe generated more conversation. I know you don't cover Texas Tech, but what were your thoughts of just the conversation, what it was like, how amplified it was, and then maybe you're surprised at just how defensive Texas Tech still is when they discuss it?
You know, if you've interacted with these people on social media, whether it's Texas Tech fans and everything, they're not backing down. They think they should be in the SEC, Big Ten, whatever. I mean, they think they've been wronged with all this, and it's been just I think 99% of the world is looking at them just kind of like they've been the fill-ins of the offseason, and they just feel victimized by all this. So it's really interesting. You know, Yormark went in with a plan to not comment on anything. I mean, of course, the first question was about it. He shuts that down. I'm sure you guys had a good laugh about his interaction with this Texas Tech media guy that went out there and tried asking his question, and Yormark just kind of gave him the finger a little bit without giving him the finger. So it was they go viral for that, and it just keeps the conversation going when there are good questions to be asked, whether it's about Cincinnati's role and everything. And Texas Tech does have a few questions, whether it's just, how the league went about how it did. So it's not going away anywhere anytime soon. It's just, it's been one of the more annoying things, and I just wish it'd go away. But, an NCAA letter goes to Cincinnati yesterday, starting to investigate some of the Sorsby stuff, and it's just going to be something we keep talking about until at least through the draft next year.
Yeah, at least we don't have to deal with it once games get started here. Hopefully, it'll be a footnote in the week's news. What exactly was the feel around how it was covered by the league in the media day coverage? Because I feel like they could have kind of put it to bed a bit, and yet they didn't really close the door, and that just allowed people to make their own conclusions here the last few days. So how do you think it was covered?
It just makes people more angry, especially on that side when it is a loud fan base and it feels like it's been wrong. Then it's the fan base that's going to represent you in the college football playoff more than likely. It's still a great roster that's going to compete for a championship this year. And, whatever they do at the quarterback position, whether Will Hammond is healthy or not. But I mean, that's going to be the big story in the league. And they had opportunities to go in with a plan to just say, scripted things. You had weeks. You had a month to practice this and decide what you were going to say to some of these questions and get out in front of it. But you just decide to go the easy route and just say, hey, we're not going to talk about this at all. But, it's just going to keep going when, Texas Tech fans feel like they've been wronged by tortilla traditions, and when they're trying to throw them on the field, and just things like that. This just added up over time to where, this is your premier program at the moment, and it's going to be nationally relevant, whether it's making some of these primetime games, whether it's a big noon kickoff, or just kind of getting some of those primetime windows to where it's going to be a major story that keeps going forward. And they just they didn't do anything to shut it down.
Wyatt Wheeler has been at Big 12 Media Days. He covers Kansas State, and this is a team under Chris Klieman that, outside of last year, a little bit of a slip, has been really good. 3 consecutive 9-win seasons, 1 10-win season rolled in there. The roster we know at quarterback going to be strong. There were some departures through the portal. There were some players who were coming in through the portal. How do you view this roster versus maybe the last 4 or 5 that Chris Klieman had entering seasons as the Kansas State head coach, now under a new regime?
With those really good Klieman teams, you could always bank on a pretty good offensive line. I mean, the offensive coordinator, offensive line coach from a couple of those seasons, now to Dallas Cowboys offensive line coach. You have some NFL guys in there. To where you can really depend on that group. And I think that's a bit of a question going into this year, just how it's going to protect Avery Johnson when he's a guy that, he's good at moving in the pocket, but, his numbers go down really, really low when he's under pressure. So that's going to be a big question. I think Collin Klein's going to be a huge, huge upgrade as far as play calling goes. To where Avery's going to be able to use his legs a little bit more than he has over the last 2 seasons. And then you can say the same thing about the defensive front. There's been some really good guys that have come in over the last few years, some linebackers at the same time, to where that's a question right now as they rebuild that. A lot of those, 2 of those guys are playing for Kurt Cignetti at Indiana now. So that's just kind of the strength that it lost. But, they've done a pretty good job through the portal, bringing in Wendell Gregory, Oklahoma State freshman of the year in the Big 12 and on the defensive side of the ball. So there is some promise there, but there are questions that they're going to need to answer. But when you look at the schedule, they avoid Texas Tech, they avoid BYU, they avoid Utah, and just one of these weird scheduling things that comes with the 16-team league, where this team has a chance to be really good early on. And then they go into a Houston game in week 5 that can really just tell you, is this team going to be in the conversation for a championship? I don't think you rank them with the BYU and the Texas Tech and when you're tearing them out, but when you look at the schedule, they avoid those teams to where they're going to have a chance late in the year, as long as they take care of business, win a tough Houston game. But there's a lot to be excited about with this team.
This might be a little unfair, but in your estimation, what went wrong last year? Because a lot of the things I'm hearing you talk about now are the things I was excited about last year going into the season, and for whatever reason, it just kind of went sideways early. So what I just don't want to get burned again, I guess, selfishly. Yeah. I feel like all of us were really high on him last year, and I'm high on him again this year, and yet I'm hearing you, and I feel like some of the things you're describing as quote-unquote strengths were the strengths that made me like him last year. So why will it be different, you think?
Yeah, the upgrade in the play calling is going to be so tremendously better. I just watching what Collin Klein was able to do at Texas A&M. It's funny when you look at some of his lines and offensive lines and how they graded out, however much stock you want to put into Pro Football Focus. Those lines were never highly ranked, but it's still ranked. But the offense still ranked among the best at rushing and among the FBS programs. So, just the way Klein has been able to scheme things, just to be able to get running lanes open. There's a great, just watching some A&M, watching his previous stint at Kansas State when calling plays. There's such a rhythm and flow to how he calls plays, to where, the last 2 years there hasn't been. They were so bad on first downs. They were the third downs, they drove the fan base crazy how often they threw short of the sticks and ended up getting 4th and 3s and having to punt. And with Collin, there is a flow, there is creativity that makes sense in the moment, and this is where you try to get the most out of Avery Johnson. He's a 4-star, tremendous athlete, but just really hasn't lived up to the hype as much as, he had a fun first year when he was mixing in and out with Will Howard when he was at Kansas State, where Klein was able to use some of his rushing abilities that really went away. I mean, he had 5 rushing touchdowns in a game against Texas Tech years back, just as a freshman, because that creativity was allowed to use his legs as much as he was. So I just think the offensive play calling is going to be such an upgrade to where that's where a lot of people can really put their stock into this team and think it's going to be better. But as I said, the offensive line's a question, the defensive line's a question, and if they can stop the run, it's just going to be it can be a really fun season. But like you said, we were saying a lot of these things last year at the same time.
Wyatt Wheeler covers Kansas State, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Just one more on Avery Johnson. How much room is there to grow? He's over 5,500 yards, 48 career touchdown passes. You mentioned some of the good, some of the bad that we've seen from him in his career thus far. But do you feel like there is still major room for growth with him to turn into an even different quarterback than we've seen the last 3 years?
Yeah, I think so. It's just, you guys have watched the athleticism on this guy, and it's just not been utilized as well as it probably should have. When I'm talking to him yesterday, it's just about the freedom that he's going to be given to take off and make plays. And it's something that was kind of coached out of him a little bit over the last couple of years. And I think that's where Collin Klein comes in and really opens him up a little bit to where he can be that playmaker, using his legs, picking up first downs, taking whatever the defense gives him. So I look at that, there have been moments throughout his career where he's just had those disastrous plays. He falls apart in the fourth quarter, throws a key pick. Baylor game last year, threw a pick 6 at the wrong moment. Some of these losses over the years that it just felt like they were in control for 3 quarters. He throws an untimely interception. They had a chance last year against Texas Tech at home, and they fall apart in the fourth quarter. So there is a little bit more consistency that he needs, especially late in those games. But I think that's the next step. And, the untapped potential is the big storyline with him. And you asked Collin about that yesterday. He said he just needs to win. And that's kind of true. He gets the credit if they lose, he gets the credit if they win. So that's the next step for them.
Wyatt, great stuff, man. Thanks for hopping on. I know you got a plane to catch. We appreciate the time this morning, and we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Take care.
Wyatt Wheeler covers Kansas State, has been at Big 12 Media Days, sharing some thoughts on all the Texas Tech noise that was there at the Star in Frisco. Also, just a little bit on Kansas State, with Collin Klein taking over as the head coach, departing Texas A&M as their offensive coordinator, and a really good college quarterback that he begins his career with as the head coach in Manhattan, where he was one of the best players in school history as well. That's going to be a fun watch, what Kansas State could potentially put together this year. Follow him on Twitter at Wyatt Wheeler _. Find his work at CJ Online or at USA Today. More on Big 12 Media Days, more on Kansas State. Where would Avery Johnson fit potentially when it came to the best players returning to college football this year? One entity has a list out of their top 50 players. Did he make it? We'll discuss it. Who's at the top next on Jocks?
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, 3-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
Would Kansas State quarterback Avery Johnson be one of your top 50 players returning in college football? 800-239-9569, 205-834-9450. You can actually text or call in there. 205-834-9450. You can tweet in at Mac and Cube. You want to be a part of the show. Our favorite entity that sometimes covers college football, PFF, has their list of the top 50 players returning to college football. But we know Bill Smith is not just a top 50 dealership, Greg, a number one dealership. If you're looking for a truck or an SUV, you got to get to Bill Smith.
Yeah, the very best, not just in the state of Alabama, but also here in the Southeast. They sell more vehicles than anyone in the entire Southeast. And the reason why is because they give you deals that you just won't find anywhere else, like a GMC Sierra 2500 four-wheel drive Denali Ultimate. This is a really, really high-end vehicle, high trim level, but also tons of utility as well. Heavy-duty pickup. It's got the HD declaration. So you give them $99,000. That's what you'd pay elsewhere. At Bill Smith, you can take $11,000 off that sticker price. That's $88,030. And it's deals like that keep it coming back. There's a reason why 75% of their business is repeat customers. There's a reason why I bought 3 different vehicles from Bill Smith. I'll buy a 4th, I'll buy a 5th, I'll buy a 6th. That's because nobody is going to beat them, and nobody's going to give you a better experience. Go see Andy Cole up I-65, exit 310, Highway 31. He'll take great care of you. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
You said Denali Ultimate 2500?
Yes.
Okay, I'm writing this down because I currently don't have a vehicle, so I may need to get to Bill Smith.
I think you need a.
Can you connect me to somebody there?
Yeah, we
can. I may need to purchase my first car from Bill Smith.
We can do that for sure. And if you're looking for like a heavy duty pickup, I think it would actually
Those
fit
things are
you.
awesome, by the way. That's why I kind of want one of those.
They're sweet. Okay. They're very, very sweet.
I'm being a one-car family right now. I may need to get to Bill Smith and see what they can do for me because it sounds like they got great deals. Top 50 players in college football. Would Avery Johnson? I know you would have to think about this and probably take a closer look at it. Would he be in your top 50? You think?
It's too hard for me to. I mean, probably not.
You start getting in the 40s and like 47. Like okay, what? But there are a couple players on PFF's list that are.
What about left guards and stuff? I mean, like
there are some that are going to be in there.
No, he probably wouldn't be. I don't have him right now as like a top 10 to 12 quarterback. I think he's close. I think he could make that jump this year. But if you're not in the top 10 or 12 of your position, it's probably going to be hard to crack the top 50.
There are some names that are a little bit further down, I think, than a lot of us are going to expect on this list. And not that this is a definitive list, but
if it's the end-all be-all, just tell us it's the end-all be-all.
For most, it is. Because there's going to be a number like Jeremiah Smith 90.7 that is going to place them at the top of the list.
How are they going to put Jeremiah Smith first? I mean, what are we doing?
Well, that's actually not the question here.
That one's an easy one. The
question here, well, you say that. Jeremiah Smith had a 2025 grade of 90.7. Coming in at number 2, Leonard Moore, cornerback Notre Dame, who had a grade of 91.8 last year. So why do we have grades?
Offense.
If you and I take the same class curriculum.
Do we?
If we did, we wouldn't. But if we did.
I'd be in AP. You'd be in standard.
But if somehow they found a way for us to be on the same course curriculum.
Fair enough.
And your GPA was better than mine.
Yes.
You would finish ahead of me in that class, correct?
But aren't they taking different classes? One's taking an offensive class. The other's taking a defensive class.
I thought they were both taking football. But
whoa,
call me crazy.
Hang on. First of all, where can I sign up for that class? You and me need to get on board.
Cardale Jones can probably tell you.
Texas, apparently, according to Sark.
So Jeremiah Smith 1, Leonard Moore 2, Colin Simmons 3, Julian Sayin 4, which I already have problems with this list because Malachi Toney at 5 would be further up for me.
Yes.
I may have him ahead of Julian Sayin and Colin Simmons. Ahmad Hardy comes in at 6. I love Ahmad Hardy, but I don't know if he's the 6th best player in college football when you're going to hear some of the other names that are going to come off this list. Dante Moore, 7, quarterback Oregon. 8, I mean, listen, I love it, but I'll even be open to conversation on it. Carter Smith, tackle Indiana. Ahead of Arch Manning, ahead of Kejuan Lacey, ahead of Trinidad Chambliss.
Hang on a second. I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. Just confirming. We have one edge rusher in Colin Simmons and Carter Smith are the only 2 line of scrimmage players in the top 10.
Top 8. But Arch Manning is 9. Kewan Lacey is 10. So, yes, correct.
What about 11?
Oh, you're just wait. KJ Bolden, Georgia.
Safety.
Trinidad Chambliss at 12. Now, 13, you do get A.J. Holmes from Texas Tech.
Sometimes I just don't understand.
C.J. Carr at 14. You ready for 15?
Yeah.
With a 2025 grade of 84.1 per PFF, Bray Hubbard.
He's the 15th best player in college football? I love Bray Hubbard.
Ahead of Will Eccles, ahead of Dylan Stewart, ahead of Cam Coleman, ahead of Darian Mensah, ahead of Jaden Mayava, ahead of David Stone, ahead of Jaden Baugh. Yeah. Ahead of Sam Levitt, ahead of Jordan Seaton.
I love Bray Hubbard.
I do too, but like the names
top
I just threw
14?
out.
Like,
yeah, 84.1 grade last year. So
to me, if you are a top 10, top 12, top 15 player in college football, you are taking over games regularly.
Now there's some that they nailed, like Clev Lubin at 17. There are not a lot of people that are going to have him that high on their list.
Takes over games.
Caden Green at 18. Not the 18th best player in college football. He is a good college tackle. He is not what you just said. I'm not going to label him as overly dominant.
Francis Maui-Noah takes over games.
Correct.
Big difference between Caden Green and Francis Maui-Noah.
Now, they also got this one right. 19, Will Eccles. Not a lot of people are going to have him in their top 20 players.
He's very good.
Deserves to be there.
Takes over games.
Dylan Stewart at 20. Trevor Gooseby at 21. It's a projection. That's all it is. It's a projection. I saw somebody talking about offensive lines on Twitter yesterday and how much better Texas is going to be. Y'all can talk about how much better they're going to be. If you're talking about what they are right this second, it's a projection. He's super athletic. He's got a ton of ability.
Look how projection.
Not dominant right now.
Look how projection.
Tell me the games he took over.
There's none.
Rasheem Biles, Texas linebacker at 22.
Good. Really good player.
Amari Washington.
Excellent player.
I love Amari Washington, by the way. He kind of reminds me of Eccles a little bit.
He's a big boy. I think Amari Washington's great.
John Henry Daly, edge from Michigan at 24.
Very good.
Cade Piper, guard, Iowa, who I'm a big fan of. He's a really good player. He comes in at 25.
Takes over games?
I will say this. The Iowa and Missouri schemes, it's kind of hard for one guy to be dominant.
Look how zone. Block your area.
I mean, they had a center a couple years ago that did. So we'll get to the second half of this top 50 next, right here on Jocks.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.
The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
I'm your host, Megan Klingenberg. One thing I promised you is an all-access pass that you wouldn't get on any other show. And we found out that whoever comes on scores a goal. Burhope, Freeman, Trusty. U.S. Soccer Podcast magic is real, people. We still got plenty of coverage all throughout this World Cup. Okay, let's get into it.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henkel. Follow and listen on your favorite platform. The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
I'm your host, Megan Klingenberg. One thing I promised you is an all-access pass that you wouldn't get on any other show. And we found out that whoever comes on scores a goal. Burhope, Freeman, Trusty. U.S. Soccer Podcast magic is real, people. We still got plenty of coverage all throughout this World Cup. Okay, let's get into it.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henkel. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
Mr. Sandman. All I ever wanted to be was a pro wrestler. So I got to live my life and make people really happy.
The Heartbreak Kid himself, Shawn Michaels.
Do you think there's anybody better than you were?
I think I was great at what I did, and I think other people were great at what they did as well. Greatness is more a mindset, I think, than anything else.
Mindset, motivation, insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.